Welcome to Story Scaling by podcastvideos.com, where creators share the truth behind the content, the grind, and the growth. Anna, we're in. Listen.
Let's just carry on.
We're just going. Conversation is rocking and rolling. I am Bang of podcastvideos.com, marketing and social media. I have a good friend with me, Anna Xavier of the podcast space, and of so much more that she will tell you about. And today we're talking about how to navigate this space of being a content creator, a podcaster, an influencer, insert any title right there. And Anna is mid-rant. You guys don't want to miss this, about how so much of it is just showing up. So literally, you can literally pick up where you were right now, and just talking about how, you reached out and you don't have 100,000 followers. You don't have, the platform that even maybe some of your peers have, but you are crushing it every single day where you are. And so maybe continue. I just want to hear you speak more about what you're saying.
Yeah. So, because I feel like even though I had my first podcast in 2008, I have a journalism degree. Like, I feel like a lot of times people think that that's what you, air quotes, need to be successful or to have the connections. I moved countries. This is my third time moving to this is a state, but like from Portugal, I moved to London. From London, I moved to Dallas here, and now I'm in Arkansas. And every single time, whenever people go, oh, I can't do that yet, right? Like, I'm sure you see all the time people telling you, like, I'm not ready or I'm not big enough. I'm like, you have something that people want, whether that's an audience, it's a skill set, or you provide a space. And people get so stuck in their heads about, like, well, they should have, when in reality, like, there's so much that happens in the in-between, where if you are a podcaster, it doesn't matter that you have like a huge podcast. You have the skill of editing a podcast, marketing it, packaging it, and putting it out there. If you are someone who, like, for instance, I normally say that I'm really good at inspiring people to get on social media with like the low effort approach.
Sure.
So, you have like the epitome of like a highly edited video, right? That is like loads of cuts, super tight edit, animations. Sure, there's room for that. But can you talk directly to the camera and talk to someone to exactly as if you were talking to your friend, right? And there's that accountability and that connection, again, on social media that podcasters really struggle with.
Sure.
And creators in general, because they have this perception of like, I'm supposed to speak in all of the different, in sound bites or tips or whatever. When in reality, well, why are people on social media? Because they want to be connected to someone else.
Well, and I would argue that that's just as much of a skill set as the super edited, polished video, being able to sit there in front of a camera, no gimmicks, no bells, no whistles, and connect with the person on the other side of the camera. That's just as valuable of a skill set as the other one, I would say, right?
Yeah. And I think that like what comes to that is a lot of folks come to my social media and say, oh my gosh, I feel like I know you. When they meet me in person, they go, you're the exact same person. I'm like, and that's how it should be, right? A lot of people think that they have to put on this persona, just like a radio host goes on mic and is like suddenly like someone else. People think that that's what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Where when you connect to a human on a human level, it's easier for you, the person. It takes so much more energy to fake fake who you are, right?
Yeah.
And then I always think about like people say, oh, but who is the real you? And I'm like, I am not the real me in English because I'm Portuguese. So like the way that I can talk about my background, how I operate, how I like read the room, how I behave, there's social cues. You're always going to be someone different. But what is the easiest version of yourself you can be on social media?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. It's interesting. Because I agree with that. And as you were saying that, people tell you already that when people meet you, they feel like they know you. This is my second time seeing you in person, actually.
Yeah.
And I just thought about that in real time. I'm like, oh, yeah, me and Anna go way back. That's not true. We don't go way back. I've just been following you for a while. And like, because of which I do feel like there's this personal connection. And so you spoke to something beautifully. Everybody has something to offer, right? But say somebody's like, Anna, that's easy for you to say. You're nearly 2 decades into podcasting, a space that's super niche, super popular, super buzzword. You've been doing this since 2008. You do have a journalism background. So it's easy for you to say, but what about the person that's just like, I want to be an influencer today. I want to start a podcast today. What do they have to offer? And what would you say to that person?
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. I normally say it doesn't matter if you are in the journey, because when you are doing anything in life, you can go through the expert approach or the I am just beginning this and I am a beginner, come with me as we both learn, right? And so I think that a lot of people are trying to pretend to be experts, and it's like really, really hard. So if you are, there's like, again, there's so many series, so many, like, especially on social media, like Siri, like, come with me as we part, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's as I am learning something. And that's the same for podcasting. There's so many successful podcasts. We're learning, like, for instance, there's a really awesome podcast. It's called Cramped. And it's about this girl who had really bad cramps, period cramps. And so she wanted to figure out, like, she didn't go, this is the medical term of this. No, it's like, this as a person, as a woman, this happens to me. So let's talk to experts to figure out why this is happening. And it's gone so successful because, one, it's relatable, right? Women will experience that. And then second, she is taking us from the approach where most women are. We don't know any technical names. So she's not pretending something she isn't. She's leaning into what is already happening. And I think that that's like what a lot of folks are worrying. They're like, oh, it's not enough for me to do this because, like, who cares? Like, people care because we're all beginners on some level. So I think that that's like the easiest. Like, if you're trying to learn, tell people, I am trying to learn, come with me. And then what happens? People get on board and they go, oh my gosh, like, I loved seeing you, learn, learning a software all the way to being a master at it. Like, people love to be part of something, right? Like, we're wired as humans to do that. And so you don't need a degree in marketing. You just need to figure out what makes people tick. And it's to be part of something, because we all want to be part of a tribe or a community or whatever. And if that is literally like, also, we are all into the tell me what's happening, like the big brother, like show me the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And we want to master something, but we don't want to show the messy. And when you show the messy, people go, ooh, show me the messy.
Yeah.
Right. So it taps into those two elements. So I think that's like a good approach for people to do podcasting and social media. Just own where you are and just like take it from there. People will be like, oh, this is fun. Let me go along.
I think it's always cool talking to you, and you're a wealth of knowledge, but you just said something very profound. Is this whole entire social media culture now is, I have to have it all together. I have to have it figured out. And so much so now I have to present a character.
Right.
I'm not this expert, but I got to show up like this expert, super button up. And in reality, it's like, well, it's actually easier to be yourself. It's probably cheaper to be yourself, and it's going to drive more connection. You just being yourself, because now people can come alongside and share in your journey, your highs, your lows. Like, it's something real instead of something that's artificial.
Yeah.
That's really, really well said. I think I resonate with that. I really, really do. And so now you're at this point in your career where I don't know how you see yourself, but you're an expert to me. Like, I look at your content, I look at what you've been able to do, and it speaks for itself. And so now where you are, I'm just curious, tell us a little bit about what you do and your why behind what you do. Because the podcast space, and we were talking off camera a little bit, you have this desire to help people who don't think they can, you know what I mean? And liberate them and empower them. And so speak to a little bit about what you do, why you do what you do.
Well, first off, I have to compliment you because you've been just doing this on the fly. And of course, you've known a little bit of my brand.
Sure.
But like, that's something that I personally could not do. I could not just like, all right, let's just chat, and just, making it very easy to like have these conversations and you're just like improving, and that's awesome.
Thank you.
So I want to acknowledge that.
I receive and appreciate that.
Because I think that like not enough people lean into who they are naturally. There again, it goes into my why is helping people. What do you want to do, and how can we do it in the least friction, in the frictionless way?
That's what we like. We like that word,
yes,
frictionless.
yes.
Yeah.
Because I think like from a young age, I always wanted to help people, and I wanted to be friends with everybody. I'm a big extrovert, and so I feel like to do good and to be helping people where they are at, being the most authentic version of themselves. And I know the word authentic was the word of the year last year or whatever, or the year before, but I think it's not so much about being authentic as like truly owning who you naturally are, and yes, it's authentic, but like, it's like, just document as like things are happening.
Love it.
And I think, to me, when I talk about my expertise, I always think about, like, I had a journalism degree. I have a journalism degree. Great, yes.
Yeah.
But the way that I see it is, that was in Portugal. That was a version of me in Portugal. When I moved to the UK, it was so hard for me to learn, because I was a good English student, but like, I wasn't native, right? And so to go through those processes of moving country to country to country, I really connect to people who are like, I'm starting from scratch. I have so much insecurity about all this. And so if I have a skill set that I can teach you on how to like grow and all, that like is really important. But also, I've always been someone who pays attention to how are we making others feel. Like, I never want anyone to start a podcast and feel that they are like less than someone else. It's just like, you have your talents. Like, for instance, what I just named, right?
Yeah.
I think it's really, really hurtful when someone is trying to ignore their like natural gifts and trying to be someone else, because it's going to make the journey completely different and harder, right? And so the reason why I started, doing like working on the podcast space, it was because I was a podcast producer before. And many times, like, I had just, this is the standard. Everyone thinks like, okay, I have a degree in journalism, right? But I also worked in a cafe. I worked in London when I was trying to get in, the BBC and all that. Like, I had all types of jobs that were like, as I was a waitress, and somehow along the lines, I always weaved some of those skills into like podcasting and what I do. Like, what do you do as a front of house, as like a server? You make people feel good and at ease. And that came really easy when you're a podcast producer at a studio, and someone who was never in a studio arrives and they are supposed to be their best, right? And it's a filmed podcast. And they're like, oh my God, like, how do I get there, right? Like, how can you use your natural gifts? You don't need, like, it's just reading the room and going, okay, this person like has lipstick on their teeth, I cannot let them go and do that, right? Like, it's like, there's the big stuff and the small stuff. And to me, it's like, when you're working with someone to create the best possible podcast, or personally, I coach and I'm a strategist for impact-driven business owners and entrepreneurs. People who really have like that vision of the impact they want to have, but they cannot get out of their way.
Yeah.
Or they're like, I know that there's a less, complex way to get things.
Sure.
Right. So looking at analytics, looking at what is working already in their marketing, aligning their business goals with the content they're creating. Because the purpose of what you do something and how you close a show is going to be completely different if you're wanting to do business, or if you want people to go on your website because you have a product to sell, right? Like, if we're doing this and we want to do business, I don't care truly, right? How, like, I work with a lot of people who are like, the listeners are the aftermath of like this conversation. All I want is to have the opportunity to sit down with you and go do it, and not fall into the trap of like, yeah, but I care about the downloads. No, because if all you care is like having a business that is sustainable and healthy, and you just want to like connect to folks, everything else is like, doesn't matter.
Right.
But like, are you making the person feel like, are you doing every step of the way in mind with that goal? Is it aligned? And I feel like a lot of podcasters are all about either the ego, so I want to show up and I want to be seen as the expert, or the extreme opposite, which is I have crippling anxiety over showing up as a leader because I'm not supposed to take space.
Wow.
Like, as a Black man, or for me as a woman who is a foreigner, who English is not her first language, who has like, you know what I mean? Like, all of these things that, sure, there's people who have like a degree. Now you have a degree in podcasting, right? So there's all of these narratives that we're told. And to me is like, how can you do the thing that you're passionate about doing, that you want others to know, that you as well can go down the way and you say, oh my God, like, I did that. Like, to me, that's the most important thing. And of course, if your business grows and if your influence grows, even better. And it's not as complicated as people think. So, I just unloaded a lot.
I think, but it's profound, because it's the same thing. I'm giving you the same compliment you gave me. And I appreciate how you spoke to me being able to do this off the cuff, right? But it's because it's genuine. Like, I told you 30 seconds before we click these cameras. Like, hey, you're speaking some stuff that people need to hear. Can we talk about it? I love how you talk about just, oh my gosh, you know, there's these two realities. You have this space that people come from where it's like, man, I'm afraid to take up space. I'm afraid to do what I want, you know, and then you have this other reality that's like, I want it all. I want all the attention. I want all the, you know. And then you spoke to something so small but profound. A lot of people don't have goals. So you don't even know what success looks like. You could be walking in the midst of your success, but you wouldn't know because you didn't define it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I guess my question to you now is, how do you start with those goals in mind? And so now you can measure everything towards, okay, is this post helping me get towards here? Or, you know, how do you build them as you go? I guess if you were giving somebody some advice, some encouragement, do you start with your goal in mind before you even do anything, or can they come as you go? Is it okay to get in this boat and not know where you're going? You're just sailing. You know what I mean? Like what advice, encouragement, insight would you have there?
I would say you need to have a goal. Like, think about your goal as your why.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why are you creating? Because the reason why you and I know that many people burn out from podcasting is that is a long-term gain for most things. And I like saying that is like you getting in the car and you have your GPS, right? And you have the option to say, this is where I want to go. When you don't determine goals, you're completely oblivious to what's the most efficient route. If you have a car that is like, you know, a truck or whatever, if you end up going to a truck, like a path that is like crazy, you are fine. But if you have a little petite car like I am, I'm going to be like, oh my God, this is going to be a rocky ride. Yeah. So, like, it's as simple as
where are the gas stations? Where can I go to the restroom? Where can I get something to eat? How far can I go? You have no idea.
Yep. Yeah. So that's why it's important. And so think about it, because a podcast can give you immediate, medium, and long-term goals. Like, really, they can make those happen, but it can take also, it can happen right away. It may happen like within half a year, or it can take years for you to see the results. Yeah. So determining what goals you want will tell you when you should start seeing results. And the cool thing is that if you at least know why you're doing it, what goal you have, you know that, like, okay, this is actually not how it's working, how I thought it would be working. Therefore, you can pivot. But you know why you're pivoting. Sure. It's because you didn't hit. And yes, like, if you don't know what success looks like I literally say that all the time. So like, yes.
No,
like,
that's big.
If you don't know, like, how can you continue knowing if it works or not? So the 7, and I haven't said them in a while, so I'm going to struggle with this, but we're doing it together. If you think about it, remind me. So you can do it. Again, business is like just doing it for a passion project. You're just doing to experiment with some skills, or you want to know more about an industry. And you're like, let's say you are a gardener and you are in New York and you want to learn all about homesteading, for instance. You can start a podcast about homesteading where you interview other folks. Sure. So the process of doing it is the goal, right? Like, you're like, every single time I'm recording, check, it's working. This is it.
I like that.
Right. And you can dedicate more effort, less effort, more money, less money, more resources, less resources, because you know that's a hobby. So then we have career change. So I actually know a few people who were in that point of their lives. They're like, I want to pivot a career, but I don't want to start from scratch. So they started interviewing thought leaders in that industry to start making connections, which ties in with networking.
Wow.
And so they're like, I hear from these folks, the role that I think I want to do, they're telling me the good things about it, they're asking the stories, tell me a story how you got here. So they're getting inspiration to go, do I want to transition to this industry?
Free college.
Sir, YouTube TV is podcasting TV. Yeah. So it's the learning all of it, learning all the things, the good, the bad, but in the first person. You could ask literally every single question you want to know. So that's awesome. Wow. That's a valid one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You probably are not going to invest a lot, because all you care is to understand if that industry is valid for you, if you really like it or not. And then, oops, sorry for the clapping.
No, it's okay.
Wow, dramatic effect. On to the next. So that's going to be the one that most people think about, and that's the content that y'all do here, which is also clipping content for feeding your online ecosystem. your social media, your newsletter, your website. I had a client that literally all she did was, Anna, I get empty page syndrome, but I can talk all the time. One of our friends like, so when were you in radio? Because you have such a big radio. And she's like, I did not. Like, this is literally just like talent. But yeah, she was like, I am good if every single week we can send newsletters and we're working on the SEO, right? So creating content around this thing that when people think about this product that they want to sell, that they are selling, they think about that company and they're going to buy it, right? Be top of mind. And that can be literally one episode can yield months of content if you do it well.
Totally.
And then the next one is that networking, right? So I already lost count. So fourth.
Yep. This is 4. Yep.
I don't have like because I'm giving all the making it
whatever
all.
you can give us, we appreciate. Even if you don't end up like this this is enough to process and sit with. So
I think examples are good, right?
Yeah, this is great. This is great.
So then networking, where we talked about like no one's going to send an intern for a podcast interview. They're going to send the decision maker. So you skip the gatekeeping, you skip all of those folks that like don't have a say. And if you are selling something, you can meet with someone and go, hey, we have this interest. I would love your intake. You bond, you connect, you get to know the person beyond just an email.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, let's be honest, they are not like, Zooms are not cutting it because you're like, it feels very like transactional. And coffees, like if you're somewhere else in the country, you can't go and, let me hop on a plane to meet someone in New York.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's like a great way to connect deeper. And then at the end you go, hey, like, I love what you do. Are you looking for this kind of thing? And it can be immediate or long term, right? The person's like,
absolutely,
great time.
Absolutely.
Referrals, yada, yada. You can sell directly. This is like the next one is sales. So you can sell directly to the person in front of you, as I just said, or the audience. So for instance, I am a coach. So some of the reasons why I have my podcast is for thought leadership, because I want that piece of content said by me on the internet to help people with my point of view. And also I want ideally for people to go, I'm at the point in my career where I could hire a coach, or I have like some budget and I can buy Anna's course for, I don't know, social media or whatever, right? For podcasters. So they listen to me all the time while I'm doing while we're having this conversation, like someone is listening to my podcast and I'm like, Anna on the podcast is selling the skill set that I can help them build or whatever, right? So that's another one.
You want to pitch yourself real quick? Tell somebody to buy a product? Are we promoting anything right now?
No, that's all right.
Okay.
That's all right.
Just follow her and Xavier, the podcast manager. Check her out.
Yes.
She knows her stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for the plug. No, but that's like something that is easier especially for people who like, I am a teacher at heart. I will educate always. And then when it's time to sell, I'm like, here we go.
I got this.
Right. I'm like, okay, I have this thing if you want to, buy it or whatever. But I do know that like the structure of a podcast needs to be done in a specific way in order for you have to talk about the pain points. So again, think about like content strategy needs to be different. So that's that. And then I'm 5, and then networking, sales. I mean, of course, SEO, right? Like basically people search for stuff, they find you. I'm missing something. I'm missing something here. Thought leadership.
Yep.
There we go. That's the last one. People, again, it's so much harder to, I wouldn't say lie, but to forge expertise. If you're writing an article, you can get someone else to write an article for you and to create this body of work that does not really belong to you.
Sure.
But a podcast, like doing my podcast has helped me get invites for conferences or at least like be the thing that someone sees, okay, she's applying to this, let me go, she has a podcast, let me go and check how she is as a host, right?
Wow, yeah.
And so you're able to, in your expertise, in your own words, especially video is much harder to craft a fake video. I mean, even though we have AI these days.
Yeah.
But, like
still.
Which will be a very interesting thing when people start getting like keynote invites and they're like, oh yeah, this was all like fake.
That didn't come from me, actually. I don't want you to speak here.
Yeah, that was my hologram. But yeah, like again, thought leadership, you can listen to someone. It's especially if someone's listening on just your earbuds, like you feel like you know this person because they're like able to dive in depth and again, you consume my content, so I can still deliver that like thought leadership. But if you want to really listen, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, even if it's just 8 minutes, this is a soundbite. But if a quote can change someone's life, why can't a micro podcast episode? A lot of people think about like what value is, and they think they have to talk for 20 minutes, when in reality, like a very action driven, just like something food for thought, under 5 minutes, under 8 minutes can really change the perception of like someone into something, right? So
it's major.
But it's more than just those like 30-second clips. So I think like that for thought leadership, even you navigating who you want to be as a thought leader on your podcast, that can be your own journey. Like, how much can I really talk about this, right? Like, what are my thoughts on this? And then you go and research and you learn. So all these different ways for the listener, for you, you can do a gazillion different ways. You can use a podcast in a lot of different ways. And what matters is like you actually start and stop telling everybody like, I'm going to start a podcast in 2 years. And they're like, 2 years already.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I feel fortunate for your time. Like you have given us so much to just process and chew on. And I say us because, hopefully there's somebody out there that is wanting to take the step. That's what I hear you say. It aligns so much with my personal brand, which is BANG, BAANG, believe, aspire, achieve, now go. It's this idea that you have everything you need at birth. It's intrinsic value that can be added or subtracted. Like all you have to do is go, show up, and once you achieve, now you go and you show somebody else how to do it. And you're saying the same thing. You're saying like, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. Either, show up as you are and bring people along, or do the work, become an expert, and now you're at this place. But no matter what, you can start. My final question for you, Anna, because I'm just like I said, I'm just mulling over everything you're saying. I'm really lit right now. I'm excited. But my final question is, what is the most common misconception about being an influencer? And I know that's a buzzword, right? But when I say influencer, I mean it in an endearing way. You are a strategist. You're a coach. You're a social media expert. You are a journalist. You are a podcaster. You are a business. You're your own business. You are, when I say influencer, you have actual influence on an industry and on people's lives, right? And I want to know, what is your most common misconception? Maybe it's a situation where it's like, I thought it was going to be like this, or actually, but it's not. Or, I thought it wasn't going to be like this, but it is. Like, if you were talking to either yourself when you were just starting or somebody out there who's going to start, what would you say the biggest misconception is?
Oh, that's an easy one, because we were talking about this before. It's like people think they need to be bigger than they are in order to have influence. And so when we were talking about, you have something that people care about. So whether that's a skill set, whether that's a community, whether that's a space. I think people get really, really hung up on the size, on the downloads or the views. It's more about, and this is like, I will die on this hill.
Yeah.
People don't give themselves the chances because they think that they're not ready. When in reality, literally, you could send an email today and somehow the universe is like, I'm aligning with this person who needs that thing. Yeah. And it's just asking. It truly is. And I've personally and help clients. It's not just me like, oh yeah, like it was, I don't know, circumstantial, or because you already work in podcasting, you were able to do this. Like, I don't even have 5,000 followers on social media, newsletters, all of those. And I secured partnerships and did meetups with organizations that are in the podcast industry.
I mean, big ones. We don't got to name them, but like, okay. I know.
Captivate, Ecamm, Riverside, they're just some of them. Osha, they are big podcasting companies. Yeah. And I'm like, I just build relationships and I go, hey, you have this problem, I have this solution. And literally that's what it is. It's just, it's a mix of being selfless with identifying a need. Don't make it about yourself. Make it about how you can help that organization or that individual or that whatever. Like, how can you fix their problem? I think that is what not enough people think. They go, I am a person, how do I fit in this? No, remove yourself from it and say, the person that I want to help has a problem. And then that's when you bring in like how you can help them.
Yeah.
And instead of like you see through your lens, because it's always harder like that.
Yeah.
Because you can identify issues before. Maybe you are really good at identifying issues that people can't see because they're too in it. So as an influencer, I would go, what is something that comes really naturally to you that you can help if you want to have partnerships, if you want to start working into an industry? If you're passionate about something, you are probably identifying a problem or a solution that that organization hasn't seen. So go and do it. And then just literally like let and follow up. Oh my God. I cannot underestimate. People underestimate the follow-up. They go send out an email and go, they didn't reply.
They didn't respond.
They're not
Oh
interested.
my gosh. It's been 3 days when like,
Yeah.
they say in order to make a sale, you got to follow up 7 times.
And sometimes it's like following up the right way. It's not just like if you're doing a low effort, how can you expect like a high effort, right? So it's like follow up, but be intentional. Like, hey, I hope sometimes it's just saying, I know you're busy. I'm just putting this at the top of your inbox. And most times I'm like, I am so sorry. I forgot to reply. Or like, I got too much going on. Here's the thing. Or they will tell them like, okay, yes, let's book a call. Here's the thing. So I think that's like, to me, very long-winded, but
No, that's it.
Follow up, but trying first, like just go for it and don't let go. My 2 tips.
You made some stars. Somebody's going to watch this and go on to be very, very, very encouraged in what they're doing.
I just asked them that they message us and tell us that this was the podcast episode that got them, or the show that got them to actually take action. Like that, to me, whenever I see messages like this, I'm like, my day is made.
Yeah. Where can we follow you? Where can everybody keep up with you? Work, website?
What's my camera?
Plug it all. Speak. You can speak there. You can speak directly there. Either one.
You, listener, viewer. Follow me on Instagram. That's mainly the platform I'm in. I'm at the podcast space, THE podcast as a single, and then space. And then, of course, listen to my podcast, The Podcast Space, on any podcast platform on YouTube. And if you want to work with me or figure out like what is holding you back, you can visit thepodcastspace.com and just send me an email. Don't be shy.
That's it.
That's it.